You ever get mad that something doesn't suck? Now, let me explain. For years, I was unhappy with the direction that Blindspot was taking. I absolutely adored the first season. I fucking loved it. It came out maybe a year or two after The Blacklist, and obviously both names start with B, but they were both on NBC. But there was just, they both were like hardcore, cutting edge shows about the FBI, kind of going in different directions. You know, The Blacklist was basically a cult of personality. Raymond Reddington made the whole thing work. Nothing else on the show really mattered. He was so fucking cool. His dialogue was so great. The performance was so awesome. Nothing else mattered. It has ups and downs as a series, but like you're watching Raymond Reddington. Blind Spot wasn't that way. It was more plot driven and team oriented. To use a sports metaphor, the first Patriots team to win the Super Bowl was a team. In fact, they came out as a team. They weren't even. It wasn't like the offense or defense was introduced individually, as had been normal up to that point. They just went out as a team, and they were a team. Whereas the Joe Montana 49ers, it was Joe Montana and it was Bill Walsh. You had two massive personalities, and that's why they were winning. And so basically, Blind Spot was a team, and it was an ensemble in every sense of the word. And it worked. And I was absolutely obsessed with the show the first season. Like every twist and turn, every mystery, it was so intricately plotted. And in both Blind Spot and The Blacklist, their first seasons were constructed in almost the exact same way. Every single, it felt like at first it felt like it was a monster of the week. It was episodic. It was a procedural. In every mission, every job that they did each week, every crime they solved, every criminal they put away, it seemed like when you're in the moment of season one, it was all just arbitrary. When you got to the end of each season, in both cases, when you got to the end of the season, you realize, oh my God, this is all connected. The Blacklist, everything was leading up to Berlin in season one. On this show, everything was leading up to the conspiracy and Jane Doe and all that stuff. And it was exposing the corrupt people within the FBI. And then the two shows diverged after that. And they weren't so similar after that. But I was obsessed with season one of Blind Spot. The season one finale was phenomenal. Just absolutely takes your breath away. And in fact, even though I love The Blacklist, that finale was just so. It didn't really land. The season as a whole was excellent, but the finale didn't land. Blind Spot, the finale was just so fucking good, and because it was about the characters, and it's about the personalities, and Kurt Weller, what had happened to his sister and his father dying, and him giving comfort to his father dying, and then after the fact finding out his father had been the fucking murderer he thought he was the whole time. Like that's just, and you can't take that back. Like he's fucking dead. There's nothing you can do about it at that point. Just phenomenal, just blows you fucking away. And she's sitting there crying and trying to explain herself, and he's telling her to shut the fuck up, you're under arrest. Like, just, oh my God. That was so fucking powerful. And then the series continued. Season 2 was good. In fact, season 3 was pretty good. I just loved Roman. Like, the character, as a bad guy, the character Roman was just, God, he was good. The actor was good. The way they wrote him was good. And again, it was personal. In season 1, it was personal because they were going right at Weller. Just right at him. Just the heart of the character. It was about him. And they used his personal tragedy in his life. His relationship with... And it wasn't his sister, actually. I misspoke earlier. The girl who died wasn't his sister. It was a neighborhood girl that he liked as a friend. But anyway, but his neighborhood friend being murdered and thinking his father did it, they went right at him in season 1. In season 3, it was personal because, she had betrayed who was basically her brother, So the first 3 seasons of Blind Spot were there was ups and downs, but they were riveting. And each season decreased in quality from the last, but like, it started so high, even season 3 was still really good television. And then we got season 4 and 5. So it's just, for me, the show stopped working after season 3. And there's 3 reasons for it. First of all, you've got bitch.com. I never liked it. He was a one-off villain, just like every other one-off villain they had in season 1. And he should have been left that way. I didn't like him as a character. I didn't like the character interactions, the way, like, especially the way Patterson reacted around him. Like the constant bickering was just juvenile and just uninteresting and boring. And I would actually start fast forwarding when they would start bickering. I would just fast forward, because I watch everything on DVR and get to the next scene. Because it just wasn't working for me. Like and he's selfish, he's petty, he's juvenile, he's childish. And then, like, his main area of interest is hacking, which just it's over my head. It probably makes a lot more sense than the 80s hackers movies did. Like, I'm sure the shit they're saying has a legitimate amount of sense. But you can look at how they do a ROM on the Blacklist. And it's just, they keep it to a bare minimum of the technobabble. And they do it, and anytime they use the technobabble, it's like in a tense situation. Aram's got a gun to his head, and Reddington's about to blow his fucking head off, and he's spitting this shit out, and you're riveted by what's going on, so you just go with it. Whereas on Blindspot, the technobabble just weighs you down. There's no stakes to it. It's just, they're going to eventually solve the issue. And you're just sitting around, you're waiting, can you get to the fucking point? And it just weighs it down. So, like, So nothing about bitch.com interests me whatsoever. Personally or professionally, I don't think he added anything to it. I think he took time away from other characters. I was way more interested, like Zapata and Reed. Way more interested. They had like character arcs in season 1. They had shit that they were fucking going through, man. Season 1 and 2. Like, Zapata mostly season 1, Reed mostly season 2. They were going through shit, man. Like, they were really fucking, like, personal tragedies and personal albatrosses around their neck and just overcoming massive obstacles. And by season 3 and 4, like, you just didn't have any of that anymore because they're spending so much fucking time with bitch.com. He just weighed the show down. I was just a horrible ass addition to the show. The second issue I have with the show was the big bads got to be, they started to become villain sues, and even Roman was that in season 3. Like, he was ahead of him every step of the way. He was ahead of him. He's in every single episode of the season, and the only way you can keep him in play is if he's ahead of him, right? Like, he's just, damn, man, like, the motherfucker's got like a supercomputer for a fucking brain. Is just like, he's ahead of the entire FBI, the entire team of very talented individuals. Just, every step of the way. They it's playing master fucking chess, teaching a master class of villainy. It's just, but I put up with him because, there were personal stakes. And to me, those personal stakes were very interesting. I put up with Ramsay Bolton being a villain Sue in Game of Thrones because every time he pwned all of his opponents, it was just going to be that much more pleasurable when he got fucking ripped to shreds. To shreds, you say. And it was very satisfying. Like, every fucking thing he accomplished just made it all the sweeter when it all came crashing down. But like, I was heavily invested in that show, and there was so much else going on. Like, he wasn't the only bad guy on the show. So you had other shit, you had other people losing, even though he would always fucking win. He was a villain too, but he wasn't as fucking annoying. So, Roman was a villain too, but he wasn't as fucking annoying because you had the personal stakes. The problem was, Madeline, whatever the fuck her name is, the big bad of the final 2 seasons, there was no personal stakes there. She had no personal connection to anybody in the show. Yeah, she had shit going on with Zapata, but like, it just didn't land for me. Not in the way Roman did, not in the way, season 1 and 2 it did with like Weller, and it just didn't land with me. So you have the villain Susan, that just, makes the show start to suck. You've got bitch.com. And then the third problem is kind of related to bitch.com in that way too much fucking emphasis on the hacking of the show. Like, you have bitch.com, you have Patterson, you have that crazy bitch they brought back. I don't remember her name now, like, even though it's, like, I just watched the series finale like a couple hours ago. You know what I mean. That woman that they were in league with, I think between season 3 and 4. Like, they had formed this trio of, they were hacktivists or whatever. Her. And then you got bitch.com's boyfriend is also a fucking hacker. I mean, it's just, you got all these fucking hackers that show they're doing all this technobabble, and there's all these plot lines revolved around hacking, and it's just not that interesting to me. Like, it just weighs the show down. So, I had written the show off as badly written. You take all that together, I created the cardinal sin, which is the point of this video. Never mistake personal taste with bad writing. Just because you don't personally like something doesn't mean it's bad writing. And I see this bandied about way too often on social media. Now, things can be objectively bad writing. Writing is a skill. Writing is screenwriting. Creative writing is screenwriting more than creative writing, like novel writing. Let's stick to screenwriting for this because they are different fields. Screenwriting is a skill that can and is taught. And there are rules. And you have to follow that rules. Now, you can break the rules as long as you know what they say, first learn the rules, then you can break them at your leisure. That's true. But if you break them, you'd better be a really fucking good writer. You know what I'm saying? You break the act structure, you'd better be a good fucking writer. If you're going to do a Memento and just have a completely unchronological story, you'd better be a really fucking good writer. And the writers of Memento were really fucking good writers. Christopher Nolan's brother, whatever that was, Jonathan Nolan, I think. So, writing can be objectively bad. If you don't believe me, look at the love story in the prequel trilogy, Star Wars prequel trilogy. Look at his sand rant, or like when he says he loves her, like the speech he gives when he loves her, the speech she gives in the arena, talking about how she loves him. That is objectively bad writing. When it doesn't resemble actual human behavior, it's not good writing. It's just objectively bad. Or when you set up plot points and then you go the opposite direction, it's bad writing. Like, it's way too technical to get into, but like there is technically bad writing. That's objectively true. That's not a matter of opinion. That's not, oh, well, it's your opinion is bad. No, it's not. Because it can be taught in fucking class. If it can be taught in class, there is an objective truth to be found there. Now, you could be wrong. Like, 4 plus 4 equals 8 is taught in class, but if you say it equals 9, just because it's taught in class, then you're fucking wrong because you're saying 9. So you can be wrong, but I'm just saying there is a such thing that exists as objectively bad writing. The problem is when you don't like something, so you dismiss it as bad writing. And that's exactly what I did with Blindspot. I didn't like Bish.com, but he was not a badly written character. He's a three-dimensional character. He's got layers. He's got growth. He's got personal growth. All the way up to the series finale, his character is growing and evolving. The hacking stuff was, I assume, since I don't know much about hacking, I assume that was all good writing. The villain soonness of it, was just because I wasn't engaged in the personal stakes doesn't mean Madeline was a bad villain. That one's iffy. That could have been bad writing simply because I feel like they should have had one big bad per season and not repeated them. Roman was fine because he wasn't the big bad in season 2. He was big bad in season 3, right? That carried him over and he turned bad. So I just feel like the mistake. I remember it being so deflated at the end of season 4, and Madeline was still she persevered, and it's like, oh fuck, now we got her in season 5 too. I remember being deflated, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily bad writing. Let me put it another way. I don't like liver. As a matter of fact, I hate liver with every fiber of my being. I refuse to eat it. I used to get my ass whooped because I would refuse to eat it as a kid. In fact, my mom told me I was not going to leave the kitchen table. She was tired of whipping my ass, so she said, look, you're not leaving the kitchen table until you eat this liver. So I said, I'm not going to eat it. She came out the next morning, I guess expecting me to have gone to bed at some point. And I was asleep at the kitchen table with that cold ass fucking liver in front of me. And then she woke me up and she said, all right, I'll never make you eat this shit again. You know, that's it. You win. You know, like if you hate it that fucking much, I'll never force you to eat it again. And I've never eaten again. Even the smell of liver makes me want to throw up. I just don't like it. You know, I'm sorry. I just don't like it. I think it tastes like shit. It tastes like rancid shit. So what that means is you could have the best cut of liver from whatever the best animal you get liver from is. I assume beef, you know, whatever the animal that gives you the perfect liver. The best cut of meat, have the best gourmet chef in the world prepare it the finest way you can prepare liver. So we're talking about this could be a $500 meal of liver cooked by the best chef in the world in the best way, whatever the best way to prepare liver is. Set it in front of me and I will fucking hate it. Even though it is technically perfect. Nothing wrong has been done with it. It is technically perfect. It is objectively perfect. But via my personal taste, I'm going to think it's shitty because I don't fucking like liver. That's kind of how it is sometimes with entertainment. Like, I don't like polka music. So the best polka music in the world is, you know, it's going to leave me cold. It's just, I don't like it. So there were choices that they made on Blindspot that I don't like. So I didn't enjoy the final couple of seasons of Blindspot. Even though stepping back and looking at it objectively, it was well prepared, it was well executed, it was well presented. I didn't like it because it's just not my personal taste. And the problem I had was I dismissed it as bad writing. And that's why I talked about cardinal sin. I never want to put myself in a position where I'm dismissing something as bad writing when it's actually just personal taste. And because I want to be objective about this kind of stuff, you know? You end up sounding like a fucking idiot in criticism, reviews, reactions, whatever, if you're dismissing something as bad writing when it's actually just, you know, personal taste. So what brought all this up? Well, I just watched the series finale of Blindspot, and it was hands down the best series finale I've ever seen for any show on planet Earth. It was the finest series finale constructed by human hands. Like, I was blown away by how fucking good it was. And this is coming from a person who I barely watched the final season. And even in the finale, I will say this, once Bitch.com and Patterson started bickering, I did fast forward. Like, I can't listen to them bicker. I can't do it, man. I am incapable of doing that. So, other than that segment, it was about a 3 or 4 minute segment where they were fucking bickering, because they had to do it one last time. That was the whole theme of the episode, one last time. Other than that, it was literally the perfect finale. Everything, every fucking moment, every choice I made, every creative choice I made. The fact that they had 100 guest stars in this episode. I don't know how the fuck they afforded it. I don't know what the fuck they did. Whether they sacrificed a couple episodes because it was a weird episode number for a season, 11. Maybe they sacrificed 2 episodes. They said, here, you can have these back. Give us the budget for them. And, you know, I don't know if it works that way because you make money off per episode, right? So I don't know. But I'm just saying, I don't know how the fuck they afforded it. I don't know how they talked some of these people, unless the people came in for the fucking day rate, you know, like the minimum wage. I don't know, man. Like, that part was just mind-blowing from a producing standpoint. I read an interview afterwards where they said that it took them 3 months to shoot the finale because they were shooting little bits and pieces, but, you know, 100 guest stars. You got to work by their schedule. They can't work, you know, they're not going to work by your schedule. That's too many fucking people. So, and you need those specific people. And one of the things they did was they had at least one guest star from every one of the 99 episodes before this finale. That was how they got to the 100. Like, in some cases, we're talking about bit players. Like maybe the cop, the first cop that ran across their bag and shit. Just unbelievable, man. That alone is a phenomenal accomplishment. And that's not even why this was such an awesome episode. It was just the garnish, right? But it was true to the spirit of the show. It went all the way back to right back to the beginning, which is what the best finales do. Just it was mind-blowingly good. And it was so fucking good, I was immediately confronted with the fact that I was wrong. The writing hasn't been bad at all. It's just personal taste. That's all it was. So this is basically just a public mea culpa, even though none of you have ever heard me shit talk Blindspot. I've been shit talking them for 2 years. I've been barely watching episodes, fast forwarding through shit. It's like, oh, this scene sucks. Just barely paying attention. It makes me want to, like, I think it goes to Netflix or whatever. It makes me want to rewatch the last couple seasons. Because that's how fucking good this finale was. Just unbelievable. And it is, you can't even imagine how hard it is to stick the landing on a season finale, a series finale. I think only a couple dozen shows have ever actually stuck the landing. It's a very short list. And we all know the shows that didn't stick to it. Some of them were like unbelievably god awful. Battlestar Galactica. A lot of you would put Lost on the list. I'd put it as it wasn't bad. It was just mediocre, but it wasn't bad. All that to say, when you're dismissing a show, or you're talking about a show, or you're reviewing the show, you're criticizing the show, just keep in mind: are you coming from a place of personal taste, or are you coming from an objective truth like this is objectively bad? Just point to ponder. Love to hear about what you think in the comments. Also, if you want to do like any kind of a ranking of bad or good series finales, or talk about Blindspot, because man, I just literally cannot believe how good that shit was. I was expecting it to be a shit show. I really was. Like, I would just, because here's another thing too. One final thought: they had 2 fake outs in the final 4 episodes. One was a fake character death, and then one was a fake memory eraser. And those fake outs, that's some like Walking Dead level fake out. Fuck you, audience. Big middle finger to the audience shit that usually fucking annoys me. And it did annoy me this time. It's one of the main reasons I was expecting it to be such a shit show. I was expecting it to be so fucking bad. And it was actually so good. So, wow. Just hats off, guys. Like, not that anybody from Blindspot's ever going to see this, but like, what an absolute wonderful accomplishment. Cheers.